We've seen the price of oil under some pressure over the last week, which I think leaves us with an interesting setup over the next few days to see whether it's going to be bounce or bust time ahead of these lows from July around $65. So are we going to see a recovery from here, or are we going to see oil break down to its worst levels in a couple of months? I thought it'd be interesting to do an update on oil, given the fact you can see here we've had all these red candles, we've had a week of weakness for the price of oil, and it was only just over a month ago that we saw oil trade up above $76, its best levels since 2018. But since then, we've seen the price drop by, about 15% or so. So in this video, I'll talk about some of the reasons why, the main reason why we're seeing oil under pressure in recent days. We'll look at the levels to watch, then we'll jump back onto the platform, take a look at the charts in a bit more detail and see where the opportunities might be. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought we'd do an update on oil. Given some of the weakness we've seen in recent days, it might be heading towards something of a big level. So I thought, let's take a look at some of the recent news. Why is it falling? And where could the opportunity be? So as usual in this video, I'll talk about some of the news about oil, the levels to watch. Then we'll jump back onto the platform, take a look at things in more detail and see if there's a trade to do. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, if you could click on subscribe, it does help support the channel and it means we can continue to push out lots of different content on the markets we cover throughout the week. Plus, of course, every Friday now at 2:30 UK time, I run a live stream direct from our YouTube channel where we look at oil and a whole host of different markets in real time. If you're subscribed with the alarm bell notification pushed, you get a message off YouTube just as we're about to go live. Right, let's get into it and take a look at oil in a bit more detail. So 2021 saw the strong performance for oil continue, even after the weakness of recent days. The price of oil is still up by 35% for the year to date. And in July, we saw the price hit its best levels since 2018. But we have seen the price under pressure in recent days. One of the bigger reasons has been weak economic data coming out of China, throwing a bit of a question mark over the economic recovery, and this has weighed on the price of oil. We had oil inventories come out this week. That's the weekly release, basically how much oil is stockpiled in the US. This can cause some short-term volatility, but we didn't have any surprises really this week. Inventories came in pretty much as expected. So the rise we've seen in the price of oil was clearly a bet on the future economic recovery, the ongoing recovery after the coronavirus really hit markets back in March 2020. And the worry now, in the face of this Chinese data that's come out, is that the Delta variant of the coronavirus is going to stall the economic recovery, and we're not going to see as strong a finish to the year as we expected. That's why we're seeing the price of oil under some pressure. So as usual, when we see a move against the bigger trend, the question is, well, is this the start of the end of the trend? Or actually, is this just a temporary dip before prices move higher again? We'll take a look at it in a bit more detail in a second. Let's just talk about the levels to watch. I think the immediate hurdle, short-term resistance on the upside, comes in around $69.40, a high from earlier this month. But the really big level to watch is on the downside. We've seen lots of pushes down towards $64.90, $65. The buyers have come back out. Is it going to hold again? I think it's going to be a really interesting level to watch over the next few days to see how the price performs around this level. So $64.90 is the first one to watch. Other support levels coming in a bit further out. So as usual, to put some color on these numbers, let's jump on the chart. I thought we'd start things off with just a quick look. We'll come back to it, but the trend off the April lows last year, and you can see the moves we're seeing through August. Are the first cracks really in this trend that we've experienced, but more of that in a second. Let's take a look at the indicators first of all. So we've got our RSI at the time of recording heading into oversold below 30%. The last time we dipped near here was only on the 9th of August. We did see a bounce over a couple of days for the price. Go back to July, middle of July, third week of July, the RSI was more oversold. And again, we saw an impressive rally of about $9 in the price of oil from there. So it's interesting down here that it's suggesting that perhaps we are reaching something of an extreme for the price. Let's see how it pans out for this RSI over the next few days. But for me, what is more important are these lows that have been in place now since the 20th of July, down around 64.90. Let's take a look at the intraday charts. So we've got hourly candles here, and I think this does illustrate really well how important a zone of support we've had from just below $65 through to about 66, let's say. We haven't seen the price spend too long down here when it's dipped down here. We have seen some fairly sharp bounce backs, but are we seeing this momentum running out of steam? I suppose an aggressive trade down here, if you thought that the sell-off had been overdone and you were going to go with that daily RSI, was to be a buyer with a stop somewhere the other side of $65. I think it's going to be perhaps something of a battle between buyers and sellers in the days ahead. So for now at least, I'd be leaning towards being a buyer if we see these old lows hold, so putting a stop perhaps down at 64, somewhere like that. If we see the price under pressure, well, what are the next levels to look at? Well, for me, I'd be targeting those third week of May lows coming in below $62 a barrel. So I think if we see 65 lost this week, we could well see the price start to slip down to what could be 3-month lows eventually. So it's going to be a really interesting few days in the price of oil. At the time of recording, it was still weak. It's only in the last hour or so we've seen something of a recovery coming in. I'd be tempted to sit on my hands for the next day and see how it pans out. But 64.90 to 65, really the big level to watch in oil. If we start slipping below there, I think the risk is we are going to start targeting these May lows. So some interesting times ahead when it comes to the price of oil. That's it for this update in oil. Some interesting days ahead. I think we'll come back to it and have a look at it again. We'll look at it in real time in the live stream this Friday. But for now, we'll leave things there. So from me, David Jones and Capital.com, good luck with your trading. For more trading videos just like this, please subscribe to our channel.